This live NFL mailbag is presented by Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com/chat, and you'll get 20% off and free shipping on all of their great men's grooming products, all available at manscaped.com/chat. Jared Sanchez, a super chat here. Who would you rather sign for the Steelers, Mike Hilton or Cam Sutton? Good question. I liked Cam Sutton quite a bit coming out of Tennessee. I was glad to see him have a bit of a breakout year. I think Hilton would be my priority because he's a better player right now. But if I'm Pittsburgh, I want to bring back one of those guys. And if I can do that, I feel fine about my nickel corner spot. From Burnin' Spades, the Falcons take Fields or Wilson at 4 to groom behind Ryan. Take Sermon or Hubbard in the second or third round, trade back into the back, or trade to the back end and take Harris or ETN. Of those options, I like the first one a lot more. If I'm the Falcons, I might see if Harris or ETN falls to me in round 2. As for Sermon or Hubbard, I think you could wait till round 3 or 4. And I think both those guys, or at least one of them, ends up being there. So if I'm the Falcons, I have a chance to set my franchise up for the next 10 years. And frankly, probably a tough path to winning a title with Matt Ryan anyway. So yes, I'm going to take Fields or Wilson because of that. That's what I like the most, and I don't want to invest too much at a back in general. From Miguel, Zach Ertz to Buffalo. Is that trade possible? You know, his cap hit is a little bit problematic in terms of his new team. I think for the Bills, if Zach Ertz gets cut, I think that could make a lot of sense. I think there was a report that Buffalo wanted to add another tight end to pair with Dawson Knox. I'm looking at their tight end depth chart right now, and Tyler Kroft's a free agent. They're going to do something with Lee Smith down the road. So I like Dawson Knox. I think a veteran in a Zach Ertz-style mold actually makes a lot of sense for Buffalo. I just think waiting for him to be cut makes more sense than a trade. From Garrett Murray, where do you think Juju will go? I think the Jets. I agree. I think that is a great landing spot for Juju Smith-Schuster. Big-time market, which I think at some level he does value, given his TikTok stuff. But also, he could be a legitimate number 1 receiver. The Jets need receiver help. They have missed a lot in recent years on big-name free agents. Either the guys they wanted they were unable to sign, or the guys they signed weren't that good. So you have Denzel Mims as one receiver on the outside. You bring in Juju. That makes you better at receiver. And that's a good first step for a team that needs a lot of help on offense and has plenty of money to spare moving forward. I'm going to make this question, potentially with regret, your favorite NFL team. Scroll on down to the pinned comment on today's video and let me know right there what your favorite NFL team is. If you get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your vote. Just be kind of nice for me in the comments section. Evan Hughes, should the Saints go for Kyle Rudolph? Sure. You know, you're looking to make sure Adam Trautman develops and becomes your future tight end 1. So I think that could make some sense, just not big money at this stage of his NFL career. From the Falcons zone, what late round pick in the draft will have a chance to become a starter? Ooh, good question. I think you're looking at different positions here in terms of higher impact possibility. I'm looking at running back, and I'm looking at guard. Those two areas, you can find a guy in round 4 who instantly becomes your best player. So, like someone mentioned a Trey Sermon earlier. That could work. He could be a later round pick who starts for you early on. But in terms of likely guys, there's always reason they end up falling a little bit later in the NFL draft. From Pete Knight, should the Falcons sign Chris Carson in NFL free agency? Maybe. I don't know how much the Falcons truly want to invest in the running back spot. GM comes over from the Saints. Yes, they paid Alvin Kamara, but not Mark Ingram fully. You know, the Titans had paid Derrick Henry, but they got a pretty good deal on him, frankly. I am curious what the Falcons end up doing. If you want to go spend on a back, it's Aaron Jones for me, and then probably Chris Carson, number 2. Injuries are a concern. Can I get him for $8 million a year on a 2 or 3 year deal? That's about the max I'd pay for him. If it's more than that, not really. If it's less than that, okay, let's have that conversation. Now I want you guys to go reply with a free agent that you want your favorite team. It's like we asked your favorite team earlier. Now Give me a free agent you have in mind. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. From Garrett Murray, Ryan Fitzpatrick to the Vikings. I know some of you won't agree. I think he'd be a good pick. He'll be a backup, by the way. From a backup perspective, makes sense for Minnesota. For Fitzpatrick, though, does he want to be a backup quarterback because he's not going to play over Kirk Cousins? Maybe not. From Vernon Spades, another Falcons question. What defensive additions do you think the Falcons should look at in free agency, and what position is the top need? So as we sit right now, I'm looking at safety, where you cut Ricardo Allen, Keanu Neal, DeMonte Casey, your top 3 guys, all free agents. You need 2 new guys at minimum. Edge rusher, where Dante Fowler will probably be back, but also wasn't very good, and there's nobody else there. Cornerback, you need somebody opposite A.J. Terrell and probably a better nickel than Kendall Sheffield and better than Isaiah Oliver on the outside. Running back, Tyro is a free agent. Brian Hill's a free agent. Do you think Ito Smith and Quadri Olson are the answer? Because I don't. So all 4 of those areas, go find somebody. That way, you aren't forced to spend a premium pick on 1 or 2 of those 3 spots early in the NFL draft. Now we can just take the best player on the board. Shanav, will Von Miller resign? Also, give producer Sam a raise. I don't have that power, but Sam, I'm docking you pay today. Kidding. I think that Von Miller ends up sticking around in Denver. I don't know if it's on an extension or just a flat pay cut, but I think Denver, if the off-the-field stuff gets cleared, which it sounds like it has been fully, as long as the NFL says so too, which we don't know yet. If everything's clear, I think that's going to be just fine. Seahawks fan, OBJ to the Bucks. I know there was a report that Adam Schefter had said Brady wants to bring Odell to the Bucks. Not what Schefter said. So, no, that's not the case. Also, I know that Brady loves Odell Beckham, and I get where that rumor could start from. But the Bucks have Mike Evans. They're going to keep Antonio Brown because Brady loves him, and they're probably going to pay Chris Godwin. So at that point, doesn't make the most sense in the end. At least I don't think so. What does make sense is using Manscaped. Trim your balls, guys. Trim that hair down there because it's just not attractive for anyone involved. You can save 20% and get free shipping when you go to manscaped.com/chat. You see the link there? Bottom of your screen. It'll also be in the live chat and in the comments as well. That way, you guys can just click and go get all the discounts there. 20% off on the Lawnmower 3.0, the best men's grooming tool for that stuff down there. You can get the best boxers known to man as part of the perfect package that goes along with that handy traveling carrying case. And ball toner to help you smell and feel a little bit fresher. Manscaped.com/chat. 20% and free shipping when you use that URL. Check the comments and the description. We'll put that link high up there. That way, all you guys got to do is click and go shop. That simple. Jaden Henderson, put this $5 in Tom's savings account. Thank you, Jaden. Imagine your team getting rid of every good player they have just cuz. Low-key, the Packers next up. Yeah. Look, the cap's going to be interesting in terms of the hit. Curious how teams handle that this season. From Johan Carsamo. I got that wrong probably. Sorry. Should the Dolphins trade the 3rd pick? If they do, then which team? If they do not, who should Miami take? If you could move down to a team like the Panthers, for example, I think that makes a lot of sense. Let's say Carolina wants Justin Fields or somebody. They go to 3, Dolphins trade down, and they're still going to get one of, in all reality, Penei Sewell, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, Jamar Chase, and maybe even Kyle Pitts if they have to. So I like 8 as the sweet spot for Miami, or around that range, maybe a bit lower, a bit higher. If they stand pat, I go Penei Sewell or insert the team's favorite receiver here. Optimus Fly. Chargers pick up Corey Linsley, the center from the Packers, and Alejandro Villanueva from the Steelers. Helps the offensive line out pretty good. I think that makes some sense. I don't know what the cost will be for those guys, but LA's job is to protect Justin Herbert. Although those guys are a bit older, I look at the offensive line on my team needs list. It goes number 1 guard, number 2 tackle, number 3 center. Got no complaints there. From Marlon Arnold, Do you think Andrew Van Ginkel is good enough to replace Kyle Van Noy? Interesting question. Van Ginkel, in a not quite full-time role, actually flashed a pretty good amount here. 7 tackles for loss, 6 sacks. All of that is intriguing to me. The difference between Van Noy and Van Ginkel is that he blitzed and was a pass rusher substantially more than they dropped into coverage. So from that role, it's not quite a one-to-one fit for Kyle Van Noy, and I think Van Ginkel is a bit of a flash in the pan at some capacity. So I would explore it. I am down to have him as an option, but I also want to find somebody else to help me out, be it the draft or free agency. I don't just want to rely on Van Ginkel. If you want to stay on everything going on around the NFL, free agency, draft, news, rumors, all of that, hit that big red button and subscribe. YouTube.com/chatsportstv. We're going to keep you guys covered on everything this offseason. From Pay Dirt Sports Cards, is Seattle preparing to trade Russ by making cap space for Khalil Mack in a trade with Chicago? That is not what's going on here. Now look, Seattle could hypothetically trade Russ, sure, but just because a team is clearing cap space does not mean there's some magical big trade coming up. All right? That's not what's going on here. Seattle needs cap space to build a team. They don't have a lot of cap space. So the whole cutting Dunlap to take on Mack, it's not what's going on here. There's no correlation between those two. Seattle was never going to bring back Dunlap at $14 million. It was never going to happen. They're making cap space to build a better team around Russ, or at least that's what they should be doing right now. So no, I don't think there's any connection there right now. From Blood Wolf, another super chat here. Should the Bills trade for Njoku or Quan Alexander? I don't want to throw any shade at anyone out there in the sports media world. Anyone mentioning a Quan Alexander trade right now is honestly kind of stupid because he's going to cost $13 million and he just tore his Achilles. So no one is trading for Quan Alexander. Now, if you want to sign him, okay. That makes some sense to me if you think he's healthy or if he's going to be super cheap. As for Njoku, sure, he'd be a good tight end 2 / tight end 1 with Dawson Knox in Buffalo. I just don't think that the Browns are going to give him away all that easily. From Kevin Otto, what rookies from last year think will take the biggest leap in 2021? I think we're hoping this guy takes a step forward. How about Tua of the Miami Dolphins, because they want him to be the guy long term. And I'll throw in Darrell Taylor from Seattle in round 2. The Tennessee Volunteers draft pick in round 2. Didn't play last season. Seattle needs a pass rusher. I think those are two names those teams are hoping are going to take a big-time leap forward. From Nicholas Pinnell, should Seattle invest in Aldon Smith and Joe Tooney to replace the holes created by Mike Iupati and Carlos Dunlap? Yes. Money might be a bit of an issue there, but in terms of filling the holes, those are good options in free agency. 2 names that I like a lot for Seattle. From Juan, can the Cowboys afford Dalvin Tomlinson if they extend Dak Prescott? The answer is yes. And one note is that from an individual player perspective, the answer is always yes. The salary cap can be manipulated. It's a matter of would the Cowboys want to do that to the cap in order to get Dalvin Tomlinson to fit? The answer should be a yes, but the Cowboys have never spent in free agency, so I'm not going to get my hopes up in the end. From Kendrick, if the Saints sign Jameis Winston, is he the future or just bridging for a quarterback in a future draft? I think that the contract would be indicative of the latter, where he could maybe be the future if he plays great, but the Saints are not going to assume he's the answer because he hasn't shown that so far in his NFL career. From Vernon Spades, again, the MVP today so far. Better fit to groom behind Ryan in Atlanta. Wilson, Fields, or Lance. Thanks to the Falcons channel. You are welcome, my friend. I love the fit of Trey Lance in Atlanta. I think from what Arthur Smith has done in Tennessee, to what Lance did in North Dakota State, to the sitting behind a year and adjusting to NFL caliber competition, I think Lance would be a fantastic fit. I think he's the riskiest of those 3 guys, but purely from a fit perspective, Trey Lance in Atlanta, I really like that idea. From Pay Dirt Sports Cards, Seattle is releasing Dunlap to get offensive linemen. That'd be the smart thing to do. That is the likely outcome here. It's releasing Dunlap to have flexibility. Seattle was not going to let Dunlap be on a 1-year, $14 million. It did not make sense for them. They might try and bring back Carlos Dunlap, but they had to release him or extend him in some capacity to get his cap hit down to allow them to invest in what Russell Wilson wants, namely the offensive line. So yes, I think that's a far more likely outcome for Seattle.